Okay, episode number 49 of the Debbie and Dr. Rob Show. We have this amazing group of women in our leadership program called Evolve. And we get these questions sometimes. And I got this question over the weekend, and I thought, Rob, we definitely need to address this. And the question is, do you keep your visions to yourself or do you share them with others? So stay tuned and we'll tell you the answer. This is the Debbie and Dr. Rob Show. You are in the right place if you are tired of the basic self-help and you're ready for a higher level of teaching in neuroscience, Jungian psychology, and Eastern wisdom. We offer world-class personal development and coach training for evolving women entrepreneurs to help you go to the next level of growth in success, relationships, and living your purpose. So let's get started. Hi, Dr. Rob.
Hello.
I know I like calling you Dr. Rob, even though I don't call you that in person. I want to read a question that we received in our group this weekend, and it was such a great question, and we had such a great discussion on it. I thought it would be a great topic for our podcast. So the question is, what is this idea that we should not share our deepest desires, but instead secretly work on them, or they will lose their magnetic power in the universe? And so a lot of people have said in the group, oh yeah, I heard that too. And some spiritual teachers are telling us to keep your desires to yourself, and or it's going to lose the power in the universe. And I'm going to talk about that because in a way we understand why someone would say that, but in another way it's not really completely accurate. So Rob and I are going to have a debate on this because we have kind of different opinions, but I think we agree on the grounding of it.
Oh, well, I don't know if I agree.
Okay. Well, first of all, do you agree with that statement? That it's going to lose power and magnetic power in the universe?
Yeah, I guess it depends on how you interpret the question. I don't believe you lose power, but it can definitely be detrimental to your vision if you are surrounded by naysayers and you don't have the strength to repel them and to really focus on your vision.
We used to call them, when we were first starting out in our class when I graduated hypnotherapy school, they said, be careful of the dream stealers. You'll leave class and you'll be so excited about what's possible. You have all this knowledge that they don't have. And you are stating a vision that for most people is very uncomfortable and very outside of their realm of psychological possibility. And of course, they're going to go into the default mode of, what are you, crazy? What do you do? Go back to, I remember, why don't you just get a job? You do marketing. Like, why do you need to start your own business? And I know so many people that started their business and couldn't make it, and like that kind of negativity. And but for me, I told everybody. As soon as I got out of hypnotherapy school, I was telling people, I'm going to be making six figures. I'm going to be on TV. I'm going to be on Oprah. I'm going to write a book. I'm going to, have this great practice. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do workshops. And I was really so excited about, doing this type of work versus being in the corporate world. And yeah, I had people tell me, you know what, Deb, I don't know, look at this girl. She has her own business, but her husband basically supports her. She doesn't make that much money. But I didn't listen to them. I think I had my vision was bigger than any naysayer, but not everyone has that. Yeah. And so I think I take my own experience for granted that, because I saw that, and that was my experience. It doesn't mean it's everyone's experience.
Right. And it also depends at what age you start to say that. If you think about being an adolescent or even a teenager, when you're trying to find yourself and your way in the world, that's when I started really thinking about what I wanted to do. And when I would tell people, I want to be a psychologist, I want to be like Carl Jung, I want to travel the world, they really laughed at me. I mean, not in a nice way, not in a I'm laughing with you, but I'm laughing at you kind of way. And it's hard to say what impact that had on me. It definitely held me back in some respects, or it made me think about, can I really do this? It puts doubt in your mind because we're human, and we respect
feed off other people.
We feed other of the energy of other people, and we also respect other people, the older people that have more experience, and so I think there's that to consider. Definitely, that you should consider. At what stage are you at? Are you just starting out, developing your vision, your plans? Do you want to share those visions and plans with your peers who might not understand and ridicule or reject it? Or do you want to keep it to yourself and silently work on your vision?
And what we're saying is that an internal process that is the variant there. It's not the universal. There's some kind of magnetic field in the universe that if you speak your vision, that magnetically it's going to lose its power. A vision has power if you fuel it. And so if you're fueled by what other people think, if you're fueled and driven by the external and what it feeds back to you, of course you're going to want to be secret, because that's where, if you don't have the discipline to get that fuel within yourself. But if you can fuel the dream within your own mind, you can be in any situation. That said, I do feel that when you are with people that have big dreams, that's why we have our leadership program, because it really surrounds you with people who get it, who are open-minded, who are self-reflective, and are able to have that conversation with you and root you on and cheer you on. Of course, that's going to be a much easier route than being in your little town and being around your friends who've never done anything in their life or have taken the traditional route, and they won't get it. It will be much harder. But I don't want you to think about this as some sort of fearful practice. If I better keep it quiet, like in a fearful way, because it's not going to happen if I share it. As if this air is going to leak out of the balloon and it's going to fall. So I really think, ask yourself, how much do I really believe in my vision? And how can I hold that vision regardless of what other people say?
Yeah. There is a tendency in human groups to move towards the mean, meaning the middle, the average. And everyone unconsciously wants to be in that center, middle average range, because it creates, it doesn't create waves. It doesn't disturb the status quo of the group. Everybody knows where they're at in the pecking order, who's the alpha, who's the omega, and all that stuff. And when you try to move within that, and you try to, let's say, bring a vision of a higher vision into the mix, the other people in the group will try to pull you back and say, "What are you doing? You're making waves." And this is all done unconsciously, instinctually. I've seen it with kids. They fall into that pecking order naturally, and they understand who's the smart one, who's the strong one, who's not.
Who's the weakling, the weakest link?
Yeah.
Well, here's the thing: what's happening is in your mind, the one with the dream. What you're seeing in them is because you were raised, they're part of your circle. They're reflecting your thought system of the past. So when you see them saying, no, you can't do it, it's your own thought system that's in you, that if you get triggered by it and pulled into it, you're really seeing your own mind right there. Now, on the other side, their mind is seeing the opposite of when they're seeing you go for your dream. What they're seeing is the fear and the untapped dreams they have and the fears that they have about going for what they really want. And you represent a threat to their own, not only the group, but their own personal life and questioning themselves. So you see someone who's doing really well, and it makes you doubt, well, maybe I should be doing better. And so it makes, as long as everyone's on the same playing field, everyone can feel comfortable. So both ends feel, one is pulling you back, and one is you're actually having them pull forward. And for me, I think because I was so vocal about what I wanted to create, I think people were inspired by me. And maybe not that my circle, but maybe other people. And so if you hold it to yourself, you can't really be an inspiration. And so the gift of that is you may lose some friends. They may resist. They may, or family even, tell you to pull back. But you could inspire them. Because when you break from the group, you tell them it's possible. The water's warm here. You can do this. And so that's what I think the gift of that is.
Yeah, so there's not only the group factor of everybody kind of trying to pull you back to the center, but within ourselves, there's a tendency, it's called the negative bias, meaning that we tend to focus more on negativity than positivity.
Wow.
Meaning, let's say 9 people encourage you to follow your dream and they say, you're doing great, go for it, you're going to make it. And one person says, that's crazy. What are you doing? Settle down and
be reasonable.
Be reasonable. Do what everybody else is doing. You're going to tend to focus on that negative comment a lot more than on the positive ones.
It's almost as if it's for survival purposes, right? We look at what's wrong or what's not in the flow. So for me, I would get comments on social media, and everyone would be like, "Oh, I love that visualization. It's so great." And then there would be one comment about how they didn't like the music or it was too loud, and I used to focus on that one comment instead of all the great compliments. And so that's really it's the way our mind works. So when we go for our vision, we have to be aware of that. And we have to be aware of that those people don't define what's possible. We define what's possible. And if we let other people define what's possible for us, then we should keep it secret because we're basically being led by other people and we're not strong enough to have our vision. But if you want to break free, you have to find that self-focus to hold the vision. Yeah,
and then a lot of the people that we're around now that are successful, some of them, not all of them, but some of them have said, then I took it on as my duty or my challenge to make those people wrong, to prove that they were wrong.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know
kind
about
of an
that.
Aggressive way.
Yeah, it's not the best way to create. Now, obviously, it's better to create something, to be motivated than to buy into that negativity and say, well, I can't do it. But it's not the best way to create your vision and your dream because you're still giving them power in a sense. Mm-hmm. You're still thinking about them. They're not paying rent in your brain basically and living there. And you're always trying to prove yourself to them instead of doing it from your own heart and from your own vision.
More of an ego expression. And then you really lose sense of why your vision is important anyway.
Yeah.
Although it does feel good when they when they look back and they say, well. And I remember when I was first starting out my hypnotherapy practice, my little practice, and I had a little bookkeeper. I even traded because I didn't have that much money in the beginning. And bartered, yeah. And we bartered. She did a little bit of my books and helped me with my taxes and all that. And I told her in the beginning, I said, I'm going to write a book and I'm going to be on TV and I'm going to have this great business. And she was like, okay, yeah, Deb, okay. And then I spoke to her I think she worked with me for about 5 or 6 years, and then I ended up being able to pay her, and she stayed with me for a couple of years. And she said, you know what, Deb, I have to hand it to you. You told me when we first started working together that you were going to do all these things, and look at you. you've done it. You've done everything you committed to. And I also think, for me, stating it out loud is an affirmation, is saying, this is who I am. This is what I'm going to do. Yeah. I'm committed to this. And so if you're afraid to share it, maybe you're afraid to commit to it. Maybe it's a way for you to get out. And sometimes making that statement is a way for you to boldly go for what you really want and speak it to the world.
Yeah.
And again, the whole world's going to understand. I mean, my friends told me, you're not going to have a book deal, Debbie. You're just a hypnotherapist. You don't have a master's degree. No one's going to put you on TV because you're not a psychologist. You're not a psychotherapist. You don't have the credentials. You don't have any experience. And I proved them wrong. And I didn't even have a relationship at that point, and I'm writing a book on love. So talk about getting all the adversity I can. But I think that if you really believe in something, nothing can stop you. And there's some people that they maybe in the beginning they need to be surrounded more and be more careful of who they share it with because their mind isn't disciplined enough to hold off the negative forces. But when you really fall in love with your vision, it doesn't really matter what other people think. You just are so in love with it that you're going to make it happen.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's interesting. If we think back, I mean, were we surrounded by people that were doing interesting and creative things or not? It's always a mixed bag. I mean, if I look back, there were a lot of people that were creative, and they certainly had their point of view, and then they were interested in doing something unique in the world. So I can't say I did it all myself in a way, because being surrounded by those people, you're inspired and you're kind of wanting to rise up to their level, and then there was always people that, even though they were rare, there was people that believed in me and then said, you got something, you go for it. And even if it was just a little bit of like a small conversation, just a glimmer of hope, I took it as a sign that, I'm on the right track, right? There's something going on here.
So it is that idea of, we always have the people, like you said, that have driven us to what we want to do. The seeds were planted. But that negative bias is so strong that we tend to listen to the group and we tend to listen to the naysayers. And when I first started, when I wanted to help people, I was in the internet marketing, and then I wanted to help people. I loved personal development. And I looked around, and all my friends that were doing that kind of work were married. And so their husbands had a full-time job and they were like stay-at-home moms. So they were doing it kind of like as a hobby. And I never really saw a lot of women in my, in this kind of field that were actually doing it on their own. And so I really didn't have someone to show me how to do it, except the bigger teachers like a Marianne Williamson or someone really famous like Louise Hay. They created this great, business and organization and reach so many people. It's possible. And so you might not know them personally, but there are certainly people that are there influencing your vision and your dream. And so you pay attention to those people, and that's really where you hold your vision, versus many times the people that are in your immediate surroundings are reflecting your old programming. Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting. So at the end of the day, I guess it all depends.
There's no hard and fast rule.
Right. It depends on what you do with it. But, I often wonder, how far could we have gone, or could we go still, if we were surrounded by positive, supportive people, always kind of cheering us on? But obviously it's not a perfect world. So nobody has that kind of environment.
Well, that's why we always have coaches.
Yeah.
Because our coaches are more successful than us. And then they tell us, to stretch. And a lot of them say that you're thinking too small. You have to think bigger. And so that's what you need. You need someone in your life that's going to coach you to tell you to think bigger. And that is a really crucial part of what made me a success in the beginning is I had a coach. So that's really important. You can't, really hard to do it on your own because of all those forces. So what I would recommend, if those of you who have a vision and really want to go for it and be surrounded by, like you said, a pool of positive people, our leadership program is perfect for you. So, or come to one of our events and be surrounded by women that really get it and really believe in you. And when you say, hey, I want to write a book or I want to, be on stage or I want to sing start a concert with, 500 people, they're like, yeah, you could do it. Instead of, I don't know, why don't you be reasonable? You should get a day job. You want to be around people that have big dreams. And it's very, very important. That's the crucial thing. But if you can't, and your immediate, there's people in your family you can't basically avoid. Go home for the holidays, and talking to your mom or your dad every day. You have to hold your mind in the right place and understand why they're doing what they're doing. It's not because it's not possible. It's because that's the limit they see in their mind.
Right.
And if you believe it, then that's also in your mind.
Right. So understanding these things, then you want to consciously work towards creating as much advantage for yourself as you can. Structuring in coaching, mentoring, group support that is going to help you create your vision. And they're going to support you in your craziness. Instead
the
of
crazy world of creating something outside of the realm.
Yeah, exactly. Because otherwise, all those internal forces and external biases will simply overwhelm the vision. And, who knows what you're capable of until you create for yourself that positive ground of support through coaching, through mentoring, through groups. It
really is so important. And one thing I could say is that it's not an easy route. It's so much easier to just live the mediocre, ordinary life. And when you step into the extraordinary, and entrepreneurs really are extraordinary people because they are leaving the herd, that it's challenging. It's not the easy route, but it's the most exciting and exhilarating way to live. And not everyone's up for the challenge, and you are. So I want you to see yourself as strong, hold your vision, and surround yourself with people that can hold it for you as well. So that's our advice for you today. Thank you so much for listening to the Debbie and Dr. Rob Show. Visit us on our website at debbieanddrrob.com and check out our Evolve Leadership Program. If you're interested in being around positive, amazing women that are doing big things, that are stretching their mind, please find out more about it by going to our website and clicking on our programs page, and you will see Evolve Women Leaders. Or you can go to creativewomenleaders.com and be a part of the wonderful mix of entrepreneurs and musicians and artists and people that are really trying to transform their lives in the world. So take care, everyone. Have a great week.
See you next time.
You've been listening to the Debbie and Dr. Rob Show. To find out more about us, you can visit us on our website at debbieandrob.com. Also, please don't forget to subscribe to us on iTunes or Google Play. We'd love to see you on every show, and thank you so much for joining us. And we hope you remember to believe in your biggest dreams.